We're both in green.
Yes.
Isn't that
I
interesting?
like your green.
I'm trying to be camouflage. I'm not here. Don't look at me.
You're in hiding.
I am.
I gotta drink my.
I'm trying to hide from the cold, but it's not working.
You have to go south for that.
I keep telling my husband I'm flying south for the winter, but he doesn't believe me. I need to go south because I don't know. The last couple years have just done it to me.
Good thing you don't live farther north.
Yeah, for many reasons. Because my husband wouldn't live with me if I was much farther north. Because he doesn't. No, there's nothing north he's lost.
I don't. It's a nice place to visit, but
It is.
But
and
I
do enjoy. I would love to go to New England. I'd love to tour New England sometime, but not in the winter.
See, I'm thinking now that we have Starlink,
Mm-hmm.
virtual tours.
That's not quite the same.
Oh, they're cool.
Well, they might be cool, but I can't stop at this little cozy restaurant and eat a meal.
Oh, well, so you want the shopping part and the eating part.
Well, I want the eating experience. I want to talk to I want the culture. I like the culture of things. Sometimes it does interest me to see how people live and do. And
we went to Kennebunkport, Maine. I think the Bushes had their enclave or something in Kennebunkport. And I mean, lobster, if you're going to eat.
Maine lobsters,
Maine
right?
There's where you want to eat. It was very nice. And we were kind of fortunate because I was a yearbook advisor and one of the salespersons owned a restaurant right there at Kennebunkport. And I think it was a grist mill at one time, with a paddle wheel and everything. So it was kind of cool. So a little bit of links. That was so long ago. That was probably almost 50 years ago.
So it's changed a lot, I'm sure.
It's way back here.
I'm not opposed to doing a virtual tour, but there's some places I'd like to go smell and feel and get
wait around long enough. They'll have all that. So they'll have puff of odors. So you could visit. I heard if you visit Seoul, Korea, it smells like garlic all over. So if you go virtually, they just puff of garlic.
I guess I'll just take garlic and just hold it up to my nose and go, oh, I'm really here.
But think about, there's places I don't really like to think about leaving continental United States.
Correct. I would love to go to Israel, but not right now.
See, that would be a place, the Holy Land.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go there for years.
The Holy Land. And Italy.
Oh, man, I want to go to Tuscan. I want to go to the Tuscan Valley so much.
I mean,
I really
love where my family came from, the Ancona area, because that's the area, the Tuscany area,
I would love that. And the Amalfi Coast.
Oh, I mean, just.
I would love to see all that.
But see, that for me, as a virtual tour, would be wonderful. Because I could pause it, go to the bathroom, eat, come back, and catch up.
I know, but I want the experience.
Okay, you come to our house, get a virtual, and I'll cook you the Italian meals.
You got to cook me what I'm seeing and what I want, okay?
I can do some of those. I can do. We never even talked about what we're going to talk about. We're just talking.
This is the way it starts, though.
I know.
Because I was trying to figure out, coming in here today, the wind's blowing, it's like 40-some degrees outside. And I was thinking, now, how am I going to do this in the real winter? How am I going to get here? Am I going to have to do a virtual thing with you? Because
we're meeting on the phone.
It's lucky for me to even get to work on those days.
Oh, it's if we
really
get
hard.
snow. We've been doing this quite a while now.
About a year, right?
I know. That's
pretty neat. Good.
It was fun. Someday they'll discover us.
They will.
And we'll be out there forever if they look. Just think of that.
I do.
Your son
my grandkids will be able to look and go, that was my grandma.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And that's the way she acted in real life.
Did you talk to your son at all?
No, not a whole lot.
I mean, that was so funny because
I have not talked to him much this week. No.
Well, I talked to him 42 minutes and some seconds about soccer. Now, remember we were talking about appearances?
Mm-hmm.
Remember what I told you about that one coach that I saw?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guess what? Your son knows that coach.
Oh, okay.
And we both have the same idea about the arrogance factor.
Oh, okay.
Because I explained to him, I said, this is what happened. And he was like, "Ugh." That same coach lost at a tournament that your son was at one time. He was so upset he threw the cooler out onto the field. So judgment wasn't that far off from that.
But that's definitely not good sportsmanship and good
No.
and showing kids how to react to.
And you know that, our little team tied them
Mm-hmm.
and then beat them.
And beat them.
And because we beat them, he turned us in for unsportsmanlike celebration after the game. Your son told me that. All they were doing was celebrating in the middle of the field. What did they do when they won last week? Jumped around, hit their chest together.
Isn't
like
that celebrating?
Yeah, like apes. Yes, it is.
Well, when you win,
But it wasn't derogatory to anybody.
It wasn't.
No, I mean,
I just don't understand some of this now. I don't understand. That is just awful.
And we talked, I said 42 minutes and talking about some teams don't want to play us because there's not equity.
I just don't get it.
I don't either. I don't in
When they feel
competition-
threatened, they do this stuff, don't they?
They do. They do. Rather than get better, we're going to cry about it.
Unsportsmanlike. And so throwing your cooler is not.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just the whole thing. In this weekend coming up, this little soccer area that Lunenburg here, we have U8, U10, and U12. And 16. We have 4 teams going to a tournament. How cool is that?
That is very cool.
Now, I'll bet if they meet those same teams that won't play one of our teams at the tournament and they show up and say, oh, we're not going to play them. Do you know what the tournament people, okay, you just forfeit. You just lost that game.
I just can't imagine that's going to be a good argument, do you?
No, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So we had, like I said, 42 minutes of soccer and sort of complaining about some of the rules. Our younger people don't really play soccer the way soccer's really played. So they don't really understand all the rules, but I guess they're kicking the ball around with their feet. It's like sandlot soccer, some second world country. So there you go. Where are we now? I did have a topic.
Okay.
Kind of cool. So in the whole history of man being on the earth, what do you think was the most important discovery? Now pretend you and I are Cro-Magnon women sitting in a cave.
Well, I know, but see, mine and yours would probably be 2 different things. Let's see. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So what would yours be? It's a funny topic.
Indoor plumbing. That would be one of mine. That would be one of mine.
We're in caves. I don't think they cared about that.
I know, but where would you go in a cave?
Someplace else in the cave. You got a little I don't think.
Okay. See, I told you I'm not probably on the same wave. Okay, so what would yours be, and then what is the really the truly?
I don't know, but fire.
Fire would be really good, but
be really good. Like cooked meat tastes.
I guess I assume they already had that.
How would you have it though? How would they know? So you and I are sitting in a cave, freezing because it's 40 degrees outside.
Nothing to do, so all of a sudden we just start rubbing sticks together, and then a fire starts. And we'd be like, wow, wonder what we could do with this.
Hey, look, there's a spark. But how How do you suppose they even came across it? Lightning. How much you want to bet? Like, oh, you're sitting under a tree and it's raining and lightning strikes and there's a fire?
But if it's a lot of caves, it may not be a lot of trees.
Probably not, but there can. Oh, my mind just went to another sidetrack. Sidetrack. You brought up
But
caves.
fire is very important.
Yeah. So I was just.
That's the first thing my husband always says in survival: get your shelter and get your fire.
Get your fire.
But those are the two things you need to have.
And just think about that.
And water. Those are your 3 top things.
Before you ever had, I mean, it gives you warmth, it gives you light, it cooks your food.
It can sterilize things.
Yeah, so
it can keep animals away. It can
that's
keep
right.
Mosquitoes away.
It's just such an important, so it's energy. So what's so important in our life right now that runs everything?
Energy.
Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not from the sun, folks, all of it, or the wind. So really life hasn't changed other than people want us to go electric. At church, somebody told me that they saw a Tesla, but behind them they were pulling those skidoos, the water type things. They aren't electric.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
2 of them.
Might have an electric starter, but that's about
it. That's it. So my mind wanders around these things, and I think one of the most important. And I don't think you can say it was invented. You can't invent fire. It's a natural thing. You got to discover it. You know what I mean?
True.
You sort of like, oh, ouch, that hurts. It's hot. But,
well, how did God explain it to Adam and Eve?
I don't know. Did he explain fire? He created it.
But how? I mean, they had to cook things and do things. What did he?
After they ate the apple, they probably had to.
Yeah, it'd be like, okay,
you guys are in for it
now. As you're exiting
Eden, you've got to figure out how to do it.
Please go by just step by the exhibit that shows you how to cook your food from now on. Please pick up a brochure on your way out.
Follow the leaf trail. You'll come to an oven or a latrine.
Yes, because.
So I thought fire, energy. And my point is, we still depend on energy.
We do, because right now we want energy to stay warm.
We're sitting at home, we're working I'm on the computer. My husband's heating up a cup of coffee. This was Monday afternoon. The microwave went beep, and the microwave turned off. A circuit blew. My computer had a little like bleep. And he went back out and he turned it on, and the TV turned on. And they were working at the substation on Kings Road. And I think that they had a power surge that went through.
Mm-hmm.
They were working because they turned. Because I was on my computer and all of a sudden I could see direct Roku channel on my computer, which means the TV went on because it showed up on my computer. And then we're sitting there Sunday night or Monday night, and you can see, if you look at it directly, you couldn't see it. But on the side, you can see like the light flickering. Have you ever seen that? It's like, I look at it, it's like something sneaking up on you. Well, that light is an LED bulb, and that was doing it. And one of my other LED bulbs under my counter was doing that yesterday. And I'm wondering if they've cut back on the power that they're sending out to the homes.
Could be.
Because why are they not enough for you to really notice if you look head on to it? But if it's out of a scant, out of the side of your eye, you can see that little flicker. I mean, in California, they did rolling brownouts throughout everything because they didn't have enough energy. So it boils down to energy. But I was talking to a woman on Saturday, very knowledgeable woman. And I think she worked for the federal government for a while as an auditor in whatever company she worked. When they were doing offshore drilling, these companies would give millions of dollars in taxes to our government when they drilled offshore. By stopping all that offshore drilling and everything, all that money is not in our coffers anymore. So not only did we lose on energy, but we lost on finances to our federal government.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
Don't always understand. Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
Does not make, let me stop on this foot and then shoot the other one so we can fall down.
Exactly.
Okay, so and let's just use our extra oil reserves to keep the cost down. So God forbid if we ever need it in time of confrontation.
Well, I read somewhere this week that some of the other countries that they're not going to, like, especially dealing within in their selves and everything, they're not going to deal with the American dollar anymore. Because I mean, they're choosing these other forms and stuff, so that they've opted to not use the American dollar as part of their currency.
Oh, great.
I mean, and I wanted to go back and see if I could find that article, but it was interesting. So I don't know.
There was one other thing that
So then if we lose that, and then we can't, and nobody will take the what they call it, the fiat dollar and stuff. I mean, then what do we pay with? Because we're not gold back though. Our dollar's
no,
not
not
gold back.
anymore. It used to be if you had silver certificates.
But our economy is not backed by any of that anymore. And that's why some of these other countries are going to the gold again. So it'll be interesting. I wonder what they'll sell off then.
I don't know. It's just.
But energy is vital.
You have to have it. And it was really, so now, and this woman, like I said, very knowledgeable. So where do we get some of our oil? We're buying it from Argentina.
In Venezuela, Venezuela.
Yeah, and it's not even very clean oil. So when we burn all of it and refine it, we got crap coming out, pollutants.
Well, my thing is we're buying it from, because if I'm not mistaken, Venezuela is a communist country. Well, at least socialist, but communist.
Equity.
And
we all gotta be
so
equal.
If Russia's involved with Venezuela, if they are, which I thought they were, then how in the world if Russia gets, because like I was just hearing today, listening to some stuff, America is backing Israel. But if something happens in Israel, because everything is so volatile over there. So if Israel somehow and Turkey get into it, Turkey's a part of NATO.
Oh boy.
So then you're looking at a whole new level of
who was
escalation.
It said that we should get out of NATO? A former president. And he's right.
Yeah, because wasn't it at NATO that the Iranian came over and said what they said about the Jews? And we should.
I think we should have United Nations out of here.
We're in a very interesting time to be alive. And documenting it as we go along. I documented the COVID thing, just in case my kids ever want to pull back up and look at what really happened and how. Oh my gosh! Because so much of that, I just wanted to write it down because things were happening so quickly and changing so quickly, and I just didn't think anybody would totally believe. And I wanted my side of it, the way I was seeing it, as opposed to what they're going to write it in history, because they're rewriting everything.
They rewrite everything.
They're going to write it the way they want it to be seen, but. Looking back at everything now and Fauci and all the stuff that's coming out. And,
yes.
So, no, it's.
They all had their special interests.
And they all do. Still.
And they still do. The Swamp Lake, Richmond, north of Richmond.
North of Richmond.
That's just.
And, even, I told somebody the other day, they were talking about voting, and, they said, well, so-and-so is a good person. I said, well, there's a lot of good people, but that doesn't mean that they're good for the office. There are good people.
You can.
There are nice people. There are good people.
They're good people,
But
but
that
can
doesn't
they
mean-
do the job of what they are elected to do? Go back to that conversation with your son, and one of the people who he's talking about. I said, well, wait a minute. His father and so and so and so and so, and we're talking about equity. How does that combine with what?
Equity should not even come. I just don't. I'm not an equity person. I'm not an equity person.
Here's what I am. Work hard and you'll succeed. And that's the same way with a competition. Why do you play a sport or get into a game? And I will take it back. When I play pool, I don't necessarily play so much to win. Okay, I like to win. Everybody likes. I play because I like to test myself with the angles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's
like a
mathematical.
math.
Mhm.
To me, it's like math. Can I get and can I try this one?
Mhm.
Now, there are some people who will, and I understand how they do it. And I got really upset one time because they would go out of their way to knock you out of the way so that you don't have that chance.
Mhm. Yep. About 3 minutes.
Wow,
We're back down to about 3 minutes on this segment.
that's right. Anyway,
But yes, so there are times when you're playing for fun, and there's times you're playing to maybe you're just to test yourself.
that's it. So when we go and elect somebody, are they there just playing for themselves, or are they out there working for us? What are their motives? That's what you have to ask yourself. What is the motive? Are they going to be any better than anybody else in there? Or they are good and you know their background and you know what you have to look at what they've done. Have they done something worthwhile that has helped other people? And that's what really you want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they proactive or just sitting there smiling? Yes, men. Or
So
women.
I don't know how this comes back to energy.
I have no idea.
Energy, but
well, I don't know. They both start with E, election energy.
but this is the way we go. This
But
is the
I
way
mean,
we roll.
does
Our
somebody-
mind goes from here, and then all of a sudden you're here and here. But it comes back to, what are people voting for, and what are our elected officials thinking about? Are they thinking about the energy for us? Are they thinking about ways to do it? Are they thinking about? And I still go back to nationalism. I'm going to lock my doors and make sure my house is secure before I'm going to go across the street and help a neighbor secure
Well,
their
you have
place.
you secure yourself first.
Because if you don't,
then you're all is lost. You can't help them anyway.
You can't. I mean, I feel like, and I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm going to make sure that my grandkids or my husband or whatever's in my house, whether it be a guest, maybe a guest is staying there, I'm going to make sure that everything in my area is safe first.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go out and help
Mhm.
others. And I don't feel like that is a wrong thought.
Nope.
I mean, I'm all for helping people, but if you don't,
you got to help yourself.
You've got to make sure you've got at least one place that's sound, because at least you could maybe pull some people to your house if you know your house is secure.
That's right.
But I'm going to lock my doors. I'm going to, shut my, and I'm not going to allow certain things to come into my home.
That's right.
So what is the difference with us and the nation? Being careful about
we
who
have
we let
open doors
in.
all over. We don't. I mean,
Well,
every border.
I feel like you're welcoming. I feel like I'm welcoming, but we're going to test the water first.
That's exactly it. We have some standards that have to be met before we're welcoming everybody in.
Mm-hmm. If you really wasn't sure, you're going to hand the phone out the door to somebody and let them make the call out of the house, correct?
Yep. Hey, I'm first generation. My father came over on the boat. He went through the right way.
Yeah, I don't feel there's anything wrong with this thinking. You're welcome, but
you're not going to just left.
But don't barge in my house, because if you barge in my house, I'm going to meet you with
something you may not like.
Yes, you're going to be met with some defense.
A judge, you want a 410 or a 45?
All right. Talk to you later, folks.